I woke up on graduation morning with my stomach twisting the way it always did when I knew I had to speak to my family. My cap and gown hung on the back of my closet door, the maroon fabric pressed and perfect, the gold tassel shining. For once, I felt like I had something worth celebrating. My name, Elena, stitched on the collar, the first in my family to graduate college. I stared at my phone, refreshing the family group chat. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video. Nothing, not a good luck, not a we're on our way, not even a half-hearted emoji. My little sister Bella had sent only one message that morning. Mom, Dad, are we still going at 12? The sale ends at 3. My throat tightened. They had promised. They swore they'd be there. I took a breath and typed, just reminding, my ceremony starts at 1. You guys leaving soon? Dad replied instantly, which already told me everything. We'll see. Don't start drama today. Drama. My graduation counted as drama. I held the counter with one hand, fighting off the sting in my eyes. My roommate Zara walked in, gripping her own gown. They're not coming, are they? I shook my head. She sighed. Elena, I swear, your parents would show up for a discount on toilet paper before they'd show up for you. She wasn't wrong. At 12:30, when I was already in the auditorium, the group chat pinged again. Bella sent a photo, a mirror selfie, in a sparkly dress, in a designer store fitting room. Do I look cute? My mother replied instantly, something she never did if I texted her. Beautiful, Daddy's buying it. Then another photo, Bella holding 4 shopping bags grinning in the mall hallway. My mother wrote, We'll celebrate your sister today. She deserves this. My fingers went numb. I read it over and over. She deserves this. Meaning I didn't. Dad added, Elena, don't start. It's not our fault you picked a boring major. Bella has real things going on. My diploma was literally in my hand when that message popped up on my screen. People around me were hugging their parents, taking photos, crying happy tears. I stood alone, trying not to make a sound, trying not to look like I was falling apart. My advisor, Dr. Thomas, tapped my arm gently. Your family didn't make it? I forced a smile. They're busy. He frowned in a way that told me he understood more than I wanted him to. Elena, you did this. You earned it. Don't let anyone steal this moment. But they already had. After the ceremony, I stood outside, pretending I was waiting for someone who was just a little late. 5 minutes. 10. 30. I typed, Are you coming? Mom answered, Bella needs new heels. Stop acting desperate. Desperate. I stared at that word like it was carved into my palm. I walked home alone in the gown I was supposed to twirl in front of them. Cars. Past me. No one knew I was carrying years of disappointment inside me like a second heartbeat. When I reached home, the sound of laughter poured from the kitchen. I stepped inside. Shopping bags everywhere. Bella modeling her dress. Dad taking pictures. Mom pouring wine. It looked like a celebration, just not mine. Bella spotted me. Oh, you're back? Congrats or whatever. Dad didn't even turn around. He just waved his hand dismissively. Don't track dirt in. That gown is probably cheap. My gown cost me 3 months of tutoring money. Mom eyed me up and down, smirking. You didn't think we'd waste the day sitting on hard chairs watching you walk, right? Bella tried on 6 dresses. It was a miracle we found her size. Bella laughed, tossing her hair. It was basically my graduation, too. I graduated from ugly shoes. They laughed, like that was funny. Like my entire future, my hard work, my pride, meant nothing. I finally whispered. It was important to me. Dad turned, his expression flat and cruel. Elena, nothing you do is impressive. You're average. Bella is the one who shines. Mom clinked her glass against Bella's. We show up for people worth showing up for. That broke something inside me. Not a crack, a shatter. I walked to my room, shut the door, and stared at the mirror. Still wearing the gown, still fighting the shaking. Then I did something I had never done before. I unzipped it slowly, laid it carefully on my bed, and whispered out loud, This name, this life, doesn't belong to them anymore. At midnight, while they slept, I packed a small bag. Diploma, clothes, my savings envelope, everything I owned that they hadn't already taken from me emotionally. I opened my laptop. I searched legal name change process. I filled out the forms. When I stepped out of the house for the last time, the night air was cold, but it felt like oxygen for the first time. No goodbye, no note, no guilt. Just a quiet truth rising in my chest. If they didn't want to show up for my future, then they didn't deserve to know my name in it. And I walked away, not knowing that the revenge waiting for them was something they would feel for the rest of their lives. I barely slept after graduation night. My robe still hung on the back of the chair, the fabric wrinkled from the hours I spent sitting alone on that metal bleacher. I kept staring at the empty space where my parents and sister should have been. Every time the crowd clapped for another student, the sound hit me like a slap. The morning after, I walked into the kitchen with swollen eyes and a tight throat. My mom didn't even glance at my face. She was too busy helping my sister show off the bag she bought. "Mom!" My voice cracked. "Why didn't you come? I waited for you, for hours." She finally turned, looking at me like I was an inconvenience she had forgotten to throw out. "Oh, that," she waved her hand. "Your sister needed new heels. If you wanted us there so badly, you should have been worth showing up for." My sister snorted and lifted a glossy shopping bag. "Relax. One day you'll understand. Some people are meant to shine, and some people are meant to clap." My chest tightened. I earned that degree by myself. I worked 2 jobs. Dad cut me off as he grabbed a cold drink from the fridge. "And? You act like we owe you applause. We gave you a roof. That's more than you deserved." I felt my lips tremble. I didn't need applause. I just wanted you there. Dad slammed the fridge shut hard enough to make me flinch. "We didn't come because you're dramatic. You make everything about you. At least your sister knows how to make us proud." My sister grinned. "Plus, your ceremony was boring. Who wants to sit for hours just to watch you walk across a stage?" "We had better plans," Mom added. "Honestly, the only reason we remembered at all was because your aunt texted us a picture of your name in the program. Even she said your face looked tired." My throat burned. I waited alone. I stood outside afterward while everyone hugged their families for over an hour. Mom shrugged. "That's on you." It was like being stabbed repeatedly by people who didn't even bother to hide the knife. My sister leaned toward me, her voice cruelly sweet. "Next time, get a degree in something valuable. Maybe we'll show." Something inside me cracked, finally, fully. I reached for the envelope I had prepared, my graduation photos. I had printed extras hoping they'd want a copy. Mom snatched them, glanced for half a second, and tossed them onto the counter like trash. "These are depressing," she scoffed. "Why are you standing like that? You look stiff and pale." Dad didn't even look. He just muttered, "Frame-worthy photos come from frame-worthy people." My sister shoved the photos toward the trash bin with 2 fingers. "Anyway, we need to go. I have another shopping haul to finish. Dad's paying." Dad laughed. "Of course I am. She actually deserves it." My mouth dropped open. "You're buying her more? After yesterday? After everything?" He raised a brow. "Are you jealous? That's childish. Life isn't fair. She's better at using opportunities." Mom added, "And you're just there." Everything in me twisted. Everything that had been breaking for years finally stopped breaking and turned sharp. Because in that moment, while they laughed and talked over me like I was a stain on the floor, I realized something. They would never love me, not as I am, not even if I begged, not even if I bled. They didn't want a daughter. They wanted a doormat. And when I didn't stay flat enough, they stepped harder. My sister strutted toward the door. "We'll be back late. Don't wait up, and don't touch anything of mine. You always ruin stuff." Mom smirked. "And clean the living room." "Guests come tomorrow. Don't embarrass us." Dad added, "Be useful for once." Then the door slammed, and the silence they left behind was almost violent. I stood there, surrounded by shredded remnants of my photos, my gown still hanging, my pride crushed on the kitchen floor. And that was the moment the idea came. Not revenge in the loud, dramatic way they always assumed I'd break. Not screaming, not begging, not crying anymore. Something far quieter, far cleaner, far more permanent. A decision that would erase their access to me forever, without giving them a single warning, because they thought they owned my life. They didn't know I had already started taking it back. And soon, they would wake up to discover that the daughter they ignored, belittled, used, mocked, and dismissed would no longer share their name, or their house, or their blood as far as the world would know. And the silence they forced on me for years, it was about to become theirs. I didn't plan revenge overnight. It took weeks, quiet weeks, cold weeks, the kind where you don't answer messages except from work, the kind where you learn exactly how loud silence can be. My parents called me the day after my graduation. "Where were you? We waited for you outside," my mom screamed. "No," I said calmly. "You waited outside Sephora for my sister to pick lipstick. You never came near campus." She hissed, "Don't twist the story, girl. You embarrassed us." I almost laughed. Embarrassed them? After they left me standing alone in a cap and gown while my sister tried on sunglasses? But I didn't argue. Arguing was a luxury you give people who still exist in your life. I was already removing them from mine. The first step: disappear. I changed my number first, then my email, then my address. I moved out early one morning while the world was still wrapped in fog. I left nothing behind. Not a note, not a goodbye, not even a forwarding address. My landlord knew not to share anything. I paid him extra for discretion. As I carried the last box to my car, my hands were trembling, not from fear, but freedom. For the first time, my life didn't smell like my mother's perfume or my sister's arrogance. It smelled like mine. The second step: a new identity. Changing your name is a strange kind of rebirth. They call your old one across the counter, and you don't stand up. You sit there with your new paperwork, new signature, new photograph, and you feel something shed off your skin. My new name wasn't glamorous. It wasn't fancy. It was mine, untouched by their mockery, their cruelty, their constant reminders that I was the extra child. When I walked out of that government building, the sun hit my face like a spotlight. No one in the world could misuse my name again. The third step: letting them feel it. My parents started panicking 2 weeks later. They called my old number, disconnected. They emailed, bounced. They drove to my old apartment, empty. My sister posted an Instagram story. "LOL, she's being dramatic again." My father commented, "She'll crawl back. She always does." Spoiler: I didn't. They kept trying. They contacted relatives, old teachers, even my childhood friend. No one knew anything. I had erased myself so completely that even I was surprised. Then one day my aunt messaged me privately. "Your parents are terrified. They think you're dead. They're crying every night." I didn't respond. If they finally felt fear, it wasn't my fault. They created a world where my existence never mattered. Now they got to live in the consequences. The final step: graduation photos. Months later, I mailed a package to their house. No return address, no signature. Inside was a single copy of my graduation photo. I looked confident, peaceful, surrounded by coworkers who showed up for me when my own parents didn't. On the back, I wrote just one line: "Thank you for teaching me exactly what kind of family I'll never be." My aunt told me my mom collapsed when she read it. My dad paced around the house screaming that I was ungrateful, unworthy, nothing without them. Which was funny, because without them, I was the happiest I had ever been. A new life. I built a new circle, a new home, a new identity. A new family made of friends who actually cared. My parents eventually sent one last email from a new account since I blocked their old ones. "Please come home. Your sister misses you. We forgive you." I didn't reply. Forgiveness wasn't theirs to give, and I wasn't going anywhere near the place that taught me my worth was disposable. I wasn't lost. I was finally found, and this time, I was found by myself. Please subscribe to our channel and tell us in comments from where are you watching this video.